What's up? It's Chris, and today we are going to be talking about how to let go of negative thoughts and feelings, because this is really misunderstood in the spiritual community. A lot of times when I talk to people, they'll be asking me, oh, how do I meditate? I can't stop my mind. I can't figure out how to stop my mind. Well, that's because you're not supposed to stop it. You're not supposed to stop it. You're supposed to observe it. So a big key to meditation right here is you got to start observing your mind and not trying to stop it, because the part of you that's trying to stop your mind is your mind, because your soul is totally okay with having a chattering mind or a silent mind. Your soul doesn't mind either way. It's always in unity consciousness, but your ego cares. So it's your ego actually that's jumping out at you and saying, how do I quiet myself, basically? And in that act, it is not being quiet. So it's this never-ending cycle. So don't get caught in the trap of trying to stop your mind, because that is a trap that you'll never get out of, because it just is self-perpetuating. So how do you actually get out of negative thoughts? Because none of us like having negative thoughts, unless you're really strange and you just like having negative thoughts. I'm guessing you don't. But when we try to get rid of them, we try to stop them, then they come up more. So what do we do? Just accept them and let them be there? Well, yes, kind of. But unlike when you have a mess in your house, when you accept that a mess in your energy is there, it actually starts to clean itself. When you accept that a mess is there, you might start cleaning it, but you still got to do the work. You got to try to get rid of it. But with your mind, it's actually different. Is the more you try to get rid of something, the more it will stick. So you actually have to accept and let go in order to let go of the energy. You have to let go of the outcome of releasing the energy before you can actually fully release the energy itself. So what I do when I'm trying to let go of negative thoughts, it's really counterintuitive. It's really counterintuitive. A lot of people might misunderstand this, so listen closely, watch this video a couple times, because it's really important for you to understand this. I want you to let your negative thoughts run as much as they want to. Don't stop them. No matter if they're prideful, like, oh my God, I'm so much better than that person. Just let your mind run. Let's say you have an angry thought. Wow, I just want to punch that person in the face. Let it continue. If you have a sad thought, wow, my life sucks. I just want to go die in a hole. Let those thoughts continue. Don't try to stop those thoughts. Because when you're trying to stop the thought, what you're doing is you're identifying with it. Because if it wasn't you, then you wouldn't be concerned about letting it go. You would be fine with having it. It would just be like seeing someone on the side of the road saying, like, I am a buffoon, and you thinking that means you are a buffoon, when the sign itself is talking about that person. So when your angry thoughts or jealous thoughts or prideful thoughts or sad thoughts are running in your head and you're trying to stop them, then you are telling yourself, these thoughts are me. And this is the cardinal rule of not getting in your ego, is don't identify with your thoughts, because your thoughts will run rampantly about things that you don't even believe are true. And the skill here is being able to neutrally observe these thoughts without saying, oh yeah, this is true, or oh, that this is false, and just saying, interesting, and not really having it affect you at all. Just observing the thought itself, observing it, watching it come out, noticing where is this thought coming from, and noticing does not mean ask yourself where it's coming from. Noticing means go, I notice that it carries down to this feeling in my chest or my stomach. Just like this tree. If I'm like, okay, notice where the tree begins, I'm not going to go, well, it's a tree, so it must have roots, so it must be at the roots. I'm just going to go, oh, it's right here? Okay, I'm going to notice it. I'm going to follow it all the way back down to here. And boom, I'm there. So that's what you have to do to notice your thoughts. It's not about understanding them mentally. It's just purely about noticing them, and noticing what they are, and noticing the energy form that runs through your energy body, and breathing and feeling it. That's all it means to notice your thoughts. It doesn't mean anything crazy. And it definitely doesn't mean to think more about that thought. That is not noticing, that's just more thinking. and you can't get rid of thoughts by thinking about them. As any anxious person can tell you, when you are thinking anxious thoughts, you're never going to get to the end. There's never a point where you're like, oh, nice, I got it all figured out. Boom, anxiety's gone. So next time you're in an anxious loop of thoughts, recognize that you're not going to find the answer in those thoughts, but you can find the answer behind the thoughts, okay? Listen here, this is important. You can't find the answer in the thoughts, but you can find the answer if you zoom out and go, what is this thought that I'm thinking? What is this energy form that my vibration is latching onto? What is this? What is this going on here? You're not going to figure it out by letting the thoughts answer you, but you are going to figure it out when you realize that this thought is actually more than just words. It has actually an energy form that travels deep into your subconscious, and that's where it's coming from. So you can't think your way out of them. You have to feel your way out of your thoughts. Feel it and observe your way out of your thoughts. That could be like the key thing of this video, is feel your way and observe your way out of your thoughts. You can't think your way out of your thoughts. But also don't forcefully stop your thoughts. Definitely don't do that. If you're having a thought like, oh, I really want to punch this person in the face, and then you're like, I really want to oh, nope, I don't actually think that. That's not true. You're just thinking and thinking more and more, and you're identifying and identifying more and more with your thoughts. You need to stop that cycle by just letting a thought run out and going, See, silence, observation, and kind of a nonchalant attitude, non-serious attitude. That's important. Have a non-serious attitude towards spirituality. If spirituality is like this big serious thing for you, then you're doing it wrong, because it shouldn't be like that. It is serious, but you don't need to tune into the vibration of seriousness when you're dealing with it. There's no reason to do that. You don't need to do that. You can be in a carefree state of mind and take care of all of your responsibilities. You don't need to be in. Have you ever thought of that? Do I need to be like acting all serious in order to get everything in my life that needs to be done? Or can I just do all the same things, but with a carefree attitude, and I'll still be just as responsible, but I don't need to be all uptight and low energy? I can be carefree and fun like a child, but actually have adult-like responsibilities. So it's something to think about. Is every time you're going into a negative thought, or anytime you're going into like a serious situation, do you start to have these negative thoughts and really serious attitudes and compress yourself? It's like, why not just do the same stuff, but just do it in more of a laid back, fun way instead of like an uptight, serious way? And I know it's harder for different people that have different life experiences. It's hard to not be in that serious vibration if your parents and your friends and the media, all these people, they want you to be in a really serious vibration all the time, but you don't need to be in a serious vibration all the time. You really don't. You could get everything done from a laid back perspective and still be just as productive. You don't need to set your happiness on fire and stomp on it in order for you to get shit done. You can really, really easily just get stuff done in a carefree attitude. So back to what I was saying about the negative thoughts. You want your negative thoughts to run out. You want them to reach their extent, reach their fullest extent. Because if you don't allow your negative thoughts to reach their fullest extent, they're still going to be compressed within your energy body. And when they're compressed in your energy body, what's going to happen? They compress, they expand again, and now they're back in your consciousness. Now they're bothering you again. Now they're triggering you at a time where you really did not want to get triggered. Instead of just allowing yourself to process your feelings, process these weird negative thoughts when you actually had a chance to do it in an environment that's not going to bother other people, like when you're alone or something. So when you're having negative thoughts, allow them to play out. Allow them to play out to their fullest extent and observe them neutrally. Don't agree or disagree with them. Just watch them. And when you can just non-judgmentally, nonchalantly observe and feel your thoughts, and just keep observing and feeling. So this is not an excuse to just indulge in a bunch of negative thoughts. Because when you're indulging in it, you are in a negative frequency. What I want you to do is engage in the negative thought, but from a very conscious, meditative, present perspective, and recognize it as a non-truth. Recognize the thought as just a thought and not a truth about life. Because thoughts are just thoughts, they're not truth about life. They can contain parts of the truth of life, but they will never really contain the truth of life. And most of the time, they actually don't even remotely contain the truth of life, especially when they're fueled by anxiety and they're fueled by anger and sadness and pride and jealousy. So this is a big, important thing that I want spiritual people to understand too, which I'm going to make more videos about this too. You still have a spiritual ego. You probably do. I do. And I work on it all the time. But you have to recognize it in order to work on it. So recognize that even though you don't consciously believe these things about yourself being better than other people, there's probably a part of your subconscious that feels like you're better than other people because you're into spirituality. There probably is. Even, listen to that clearly. Even if you don't consciously believe that it's true, there's probably a part of your subconscious that feels like it's better than other people because you're spiritual. And that's okay. It's not true, but it's okay for your subconscious to feel that way. But what happens with spiritual people is they get triggered like, oh, I know everything. Why are you trying to tell me something? Or maybe they're like, you're saying the wrong thing. I'm saying the right way. I'm going to attack you for this. Or maybe they, like for me, to be honest, it's like sometimes when I see people on TikTok, if you didn't know, I have a big TikTok following. It's like 245K now. And if I see other creators on TikTok that pass me up, they used to have less followers than me, it triggers a part of me that goes, oh, well, wait, but my content's actually more impactful or powerful than them. And what I used to do is I would suppress that. I would go, no, it's I don't believe that. It's okay, because I didn't consciously believe it. I never did. But I was, by pretending that I just all over in my whole entire energy body, I don't care about that, I was not allowing myself a chance to heal, because you need to be aware of stuff in order to let it go. So I started to really come to terms with it. Wow, I do have a pretty big spiritual ego. I have developed a bit of an ego about my content being very viral. I have developed an ego about a lot of these things, and that's fine. It's okay. You shouldn't shame someone for having a spiritual ego, just like you shouldn't shame someone for having a normal ego, or you shouldn't shame anyone for anything at all, really, unless you shouldn't shame people for harming other people, but you should try to get them to not do it. But shaming them's not going to help. So I don't think shame is ever a good solution to anything. Why shame people? It just causes more negative energy in the environment. So don't shame yourself either. If you're noticing yourself have these prideful moments where maybe you see this is a common one with spiritual people. Maybe you see someone that's like kind of like boisterous and like charismatic, and they're kind of like talking and laughing really loud. And then you're like, oh, well, I'm more spiritual than that, or something like that. Like deep down, you're just like, oh, wow, I remember when I used to be in that stage, or something like that. But it's like, no, just recognize that part of you is getting threatened and you are feeling insecure, and then that's why your ego is getting triggered, and that's okay. This is a very normal thing. It's not this like uncommon thing for people to have this experience with egos. It's just not uncommon. So what happens basically is people get really, really stuck in this mindset of perfection. They need to be in absolute perfection. They can't have anything wrong. And because of this, what happens is they don't allow themselves to heal fully, because they pretend that they already healed parts of themselves that they haven't healed yet. So it's really, really important for you to get into this conscious flow and into this mindset that, no, you know what? It's okay. It's okay for me to have negative thoughts. It's okay for me to have egoic thoughts. It's okay for me to have sad thoughts. It's okay for me to be in pain. All this stuff is okay. And once you can accept yourself for feeling this way, then you can start to heal it. But when you're not even aware of it, when you're not even in a state where you can become aware of these things about yourself, then how do you expect yourself to heal? There's just no possible way that that's going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So the first step in it is just to become aware of these thoughts that go on in your head. Become aware of the negative thoughts, become aware of the prideful thoughts, become aware of the sad thoughts, and recognize that it's not you having them, but it's still okay to have them. It's just not okay to identify with them. And even if you have identified with them in the past, it's okay. It's just not ideal, and you'd probably prefer not to identify with them. So bringing your awareness to this can allow you to get into a state of mind where these negative thoughts and feelings don't really affect you. You just kind of stay in this eternal flow state, and you can kind of navigate around them wherever you need to, but you don't actually need to get pulled into them. You don't need to get absorbed into them for days at a time. You can stay in this present flow state, and you can achieve the things that you want to achieve. You can take on your responsibilities while still having a non-serious, a carefree mindset. And you can have a non-serious and carefree mindset about these negative thoughts themselves and learn to accept them, learn to flow with them. And this process is very, very important for you to go through. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.